Hello everybody, welcome to Savage Ink Studios. I'm your host Ink, and today's Sketchbook Storytime is about that time that I died. And of course, backstory. But before we get to that, and before we get to the story, I would like to make a shout out to the person who gave me the prompts for a couple of these sketches here. It's Celestial, I believe it is, on DeviantArt, and I'm gonna post a link to her page in the description, so definitely check her out because I needed some inspiration today. It's been a shitty roller coaster of a day, let me tell ya, and I was not feeling the arts, but I really wanted to do something, so I just needed a couple of fresh ideas to get me started. So yeah, definitely check out her page. Alright, to the story of that time that I actually died. Alright, so here's your backstory. Mental illness runs pretty heavily in my family, and I am no exception. I went through something really, really awful, traumatic when I was 11, 12 years old, and it sparked the beginning of some issues for me, some problems that we'll get into in another video. Nope, can't do the story about how I died and not get into the issues. Alright, I'm gonna bare my soul here to you guys, because that's what we do here on YouTube, right fellas? Alright, so I developed a cutting problem at a very young age, and I managed to keep it pretty well under wraps for a while, but it got pretty bad after the first time that I got kicked out of my mom's house. I was not in a good mental place. I missed my family. I didn't know if I was ever going to see them again, and it wasn't pretty. So I guess, the way my parents found out, the way my dad found out, I was in the school bathroom just trying to clean this mess that I had made of my skin, and A&D ointment or whatever, and some kid busted in, which was not something I had anticipated, as this was a bathroom that not many people used, which is why I used it to try and, clean my stuff. I wasn't going to do it at home because I had no privacy and was not going to deal with that for obvious reasons. So, this kid that I did not know went to some school authority to report that something happened to this chick, and it's not pretty. And as I was the only person in my school with dyed hair, I was not difficult to identify. So the school called my dad, and I remember being told to sit in the nurse's office and wait. You guys as kids ever do something really bad, and one of your parents finds out and they're like, "We'll deal with this when your other parent gets home." And waiting to find out what's going to happen to you is almost always worse than what actually happens to you. Waiting in that nurse's office for my dad to show up was like that, and it took like an hour. So I'm just sitting there in the nurse's office crying and freaking out like, oh my god, what are they going to do to me? So my dad came and picked me up from school and talked to the guidance counselor or whatever, and that same night he drove me to a local mental hospital where I stayed for the next couple of weeks. This hospital would become my home away from home during my teenage years. Good and bad. There were times where I knew that I was in trouble and needed help, and I would ask to go. And then there were the times where they realized that I probably didn't need to be there at that moment, but because I was pushing it and because I wanted to, they were going to keep me there way longer than I wanted to be there. So, love-hate relationship, but I gotta tell you, the first time I went, I was so scared. And I mean, they do strip searches when you go into that hospital. And the fact that these people wanted me to take my clothes off, I was kicking, screaming, hitting people, like, no, you're going to stay away from me. It was bad. It was bad. Everything about it just, I felt I had been ripped from my life and thrown into this uncertain place where, again, I still didn't know what these people were going to do to me. You know, I was scared and obviously already not in a good mindset. And, so, you know, after getting through the process of getting in, it was nerve-wracking. But the experience overall of being there was not terrible. I met a lot of kids like me, which I did not expect. I was able to talk to a lot of kids about stuff that I couldn't talk to most people about, and that was nice. But the one thing that they did there that was incredibly not right on so many levels, I understand that medication is necessary for some people. And I understand that medication works for some people. And that's great. If medication works for you, you hop on that. I am not going to judge because I think that it's important. But for me, in this hospital, sorry about that. With me in this hospital, it was the wrong thing in the wrong amount at the wrong time. Now, could medication eventually, at some point in my life, help me out? Maybe. But due to this experience, I'm probably never going to know. They started me off. I remember the first pill I was on was Abilify, which just, you know, made me kind of shaky and foggy a little bit, I guess, with the one other thing that they had me on. I don't recall what they put me on with that first. But after so many visits and so many outpatient visits, it got to the point where I was on so many pills at such a high dosage that I just couldn't even function like a human being. There is no way I'm going to remember everything that they had me on, but I will list off some of the pills that I remember that they had me on, and most of these were at the same time in slowly higher doses. I was on Abilify, Lithium, Depakote, Seroquel, Celexa. I feel like there was another one with a D in it. Those are the ones that I remember off the top of my head. And as I said, I was on most of those combined. Those were together. Every time that we went back to outpatient, and I told them, you know, this isn't right, this doesn't feel right, something's wrong, this is what's happening, they would give me another pill to counteract this thing that was wrong and that thing that was wrong. And it started off with your average shaky hands, drowsiness, not being in your own head. But the more pills that they put me on and the higher they pushed my dosages, the worse things got. One of the pills, I think it was Depakote that I was on, my tongue dried up, cracked, and grew hair. There was another pill that I started taking and I couldn't talk anymore. I could open my mouth, but the noise wouldn't come out. It was like the part of my throat that makes noise stopped working. I couldn't even make a noise. Like it wouldn't function. My eyesight, I couldn't see straight. I was having auditory hallucinations. And this is, aside from panic attacks and all the other things that this would cause. I was having difficulty breathing. I would collapse and not be able to move. Temporary paralysis. Everything about my life was taken over by these medications and the higher and higher and higher doses of it. And, my mom, I was already back in my mom's life at this point, but, weekends. It's not like she had me permanently. And I was there. And my sister, again, you'll hear so much about her throughout these stories because she is my rock. She has been my rock. And she would try and take care of me and help me and yell at the people who would make fun of me because I couldn't function. And so with all of these pills, it got to the point one day I had sat down on my mom's bed, and that was it. And sorry guys, no light at the end of the tunnel, no out-of-body experience. I was just gone. And I came to with my brother doing mouth-to-mouth and my sister pounding on my chest. And after that, my mom took me to a local doctor, and this guy demanded that I quit cold turkey everything right then and there. So, that is the story of how I died. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed my story. Hope you enjoyed my sketchbook. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Okay, bye.